I was pretty surprised by some of the feedback I got when I did my first wind simulation video. And mostly it was along the lines of, I don't get it, what's the point? Basically, people thought it was kind of a dumb modification to do, which struck me as weird. Um, and I'll kind of get into that, but I actually had an even dumber idea, which was I wanted to make lights glow inside the fan shroud along with the intensity of the fan. So I mocked it up, and sure enough, it worked just by tying in some LED lights directly to the motor shield that controls voltage going to the fan. So I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and make this a real thing. So here's what I needed to do this. I've got the soldering iron, which is going to do double duty, and we'll show that, all the main stuff you would expect for this. There's the 3D printed fan shroud, some shrink tubing, a lighter, crazy glue, Sharpie, and let's start with marking the 3D printed fan shroud so that I can install the LEDs directly inside this thing. I didn't bother measuring. I just kind of lined it up with where I thought it would be. You'd see the glow, but you wouldn't see the LED light. So I got it marked. I bought these little, I think they're 12 volt LED lamps. I'll have to look that up and throw it in the description. And I'm just going to wire them all in parallel. So this first thing I'm going to do with the soldering iron, though, is melt the plastic. I really wanted to kind of make this as an invisible mod, so I just eyeballed it and started melting away the plastic. I probably could have gone with a slightly lower temperature setting on that soldering iron, but hey, if it works, it works. Tried lining up the LED light the first time, and was measure twice, cut once. So that's essentially what I'm doing here. It's just lining it up and getting it to fit into there. So let me talk a little bit about this whole idea of this being a pointless mod. Wind simulation in racing sims, it is not realistic, and I think anybody who's using wind simulation knows that. That's not really the point. The point is that it's another sort of tactile feedback that gives you a sense of speed. It is not trying to replicate your open windows in your race car or a open wheel race car. It's really just another sensation, kind of like with the rumble pedals too. They don't specifically realistically mimic what happens in a car, but it's just another way to give you feedback. So a PS or Xbox controller with rumble motors isn't trying to simulate reality either. It's just giving you more information. So what's the point? The point is this stuff is fun, or it's supposed to be anyway. When I had the idea to add the LED lights, I didn't think this will make it more realistic. I just thought that could be kind of cool and give you another sensation. And actually what I found, the unintended benefit was when I'm tuning the wind simulation to try to dial it all the way down and get the maximum, I now have a visual representation of how much voltage is going to the fan, because the brighter they glow, the more voltage they're getting. And it's kind of hard to tell that while you're racing and you've got a headset on, so you can't really hear it, so you're just going by the feel, and that's not super precise. So anyway, back to putting this together. I've got the LEDs now sort of just melted in and friction fit, and then I melted a channel for all these wires to come out, because I was trying to keep this whole thing invisible. I don't really like wires hanging out all over the place, and you can check my cable management video for my playseat trophy as evidence that I don't like to see the cables. So I just had to kind of manhandle these and try some various ways of routing it and figure out what was going to be the best way to get these all to stay and not be seen. That filament that I used to 3D print these fan shrouds, it's not exactly translucent, but because it's a lighter color, it does sort of let light pass through. I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with this. I might go back and do black fan shrouds and redo this. I might actually, if I'm going to go black with them, I'd probably first would prep and spray paint these, or use some sort of plastic safe paint to make them stick. But I don't know, it doesn't really bother me. The other way I could go is with like a true translucent filament, and that would let the light glow. But I'm pretty happy with the overall effect now. You do see the light glow kind of out of the in your peripheral vision as you're driving in your rig, and it's like it's enough to know that it's there, but it's not light blasting you in the face, and it's not distracting. So as we watch the rest of this fan assembly here, I did want to touch a little bit more on some of these mods being considered pointless, or this mod in particular. I think the whole point of the mods, besides getting some tactile feedback, and helping with your input, is that they're supposed to be kind of fun to do. Like, this whole hobby is supposed to be fun. So why did I do wind simulation? It wasn't to, simulate wind exactly. Mostly I did it because it was fun. It's definitely a mod that if it went away tomorrow, probably wouldn't be a big deal. I'd just, turn the AC down a little bit. But actually doing the mod and then this other mod of adding lights, like, no, it doesn't really serve a purpose, but it's fun to do. It does give you some sort of feedback when you're racing, but mostly it's because it's fun to do. And honestly, the reason I am doing stuff like this and filming it on video is not so much to tell anybody out there you should do this. It's really, I think, a way to show what I did and let other people build on it and brainstorm. Like, that's how brainstorming works. So yeah, if you think this is stupid, that's cool. What I don't really understand is the mentality of people who think something like this is pointless, and then they need to hop on their keyboard and let the rest of the world know and poke holes in it. Like, that's not how brainstorming really works and how ideas work. So if you don't like it, that's cool, just move on. But I'm guessing I'm gonna get some more negative feedback on this thing, but that's cool. Like I said, really, this is if somebody else sees this and it sparks a different idea, something they can build off of, or something that has nothing to do with sim racing, and advances something else, or people enjoy it, that's cool. That's really the point of it. All right, off my soapbox. So we're back to tying power now into the rig. So that lead is where the fan power previously was hooked up by itself. So I just cut it so that we could put a connector on there, so it would make reassembly easier and serviceability a little better in the long run. So just getting out a real soldering iron this time, and some shrink tube on there, get it heated up, and one more layer of shrink tube over that, and then this thing is pretty much ready to go. A little bit of cable management to do, so I'm just kind of shoving it back into the hole that was previously drilled. That was kind of the first video of all these mods, was the cable management video where I drilled a hole in the top and the bottom of the rig to feed all of my USB and power cables. So now there's besides everything that goes from the wheel to the pedal base, now there's power for fans as well. And then that orange thing there is pull string for whatever useless, pointless, dumb, fun mod I think of to try next. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe we'll do rumble motors on the back of gloves or something, or water simulation. I'm not sure. Give me a minute. So there is the finished fan with the housing assembly. So we're gonna get that connected back on, fastened back on to that angle aluminum. I don't really love how that looks, but it does seem to work really well. So maybe at some point I'll try painting that, or maybe powder coat or something. I'm not sure. Probably won't go to that much trouble though. And getting everything nice and snug and not over tightening, because it's all plastic. And so that's the lead coming off of the fan assembly, and then that's the lead going into the frame to get power off of the Arduino Uno with the motor shield. So if you want to see how that stuff works, there is another video on my channel. If I remember, I'll post a link in the description. But that's how it looks. It's all very, very clean from regular viewing angles. So here I am now in iRacing testing this out, or really demonstrating. It was all tested. One thing I did notice is when I'm driving in Gran Turismo 7, the light tends to kind of pop on at 13% and then pop off at 12%, and I don't really get this gradual intensity like you're seeing here. In iRacing, it seems to work really great, and that curve, that dimming curve, is much better. I don't know why. I'll have to look into that. And then again, all of this is running off of SimHub. So I've got SimHub running on the Windows PC, which receives the telemetry data from the PS5 when I'm using Gran Turismo. If that sounds confusing, it's a little bit, but it's not too bad. Lots of videos out there that kind of explain how that works. And then SimHub, when I'm doing iRacing, is on the same machine. I am just kind of playing around with iRacing for a few months, and we'll see if that becomes a long-term endeavor or not. So there it is, LED lights that glow with the intensity of the wind simulation. So if you have any questions, drop them below. If you have any comments, I guess drop them below. Let's see how that goes.